What's going on, YouTube? So if you have a YouTube channel like I do and you use Linux for your main operating system, you already know that there are some challenges and limitations when it comes to your workflow. One of those challenges is dealing with GoPro 360 files. And so today I'm going to show you a script that I helped develop that that makes it a lot easier to deal with GoPro files in general, most media file formats, and in particular GoPro 360 files. So with that, I want to show you, I have like a test directory here. This is KDE File Manager Dolphin. So I'm going to open this up, and you can see I have some different folders with different MP4 files, a couple of scripts in here. Here's some GoPro video files. These are some .movs, which is fine. Here's some cell phone video files and everything. So in Davinci Resolve, for whatever reason, it can, as of Davinci Resolve 19, it can open MP4 files, but it does not have any audio. So if I switch over to Davinci Resolve, this is the same folder structure here. And if I go over into my videos and click on, say, my MP4, my GoPro files, let's see here, let's do this one here. You see these MP4 files, and I can hit the play button, and it'll play the file, but there is no audio format. Now, this is the Pro version. I'm not sure if you can do MP4 files, at least the video, if it'll play in the free version. It's been a while since I looked into that. But regardless, there is no sound, so that is kind of an issue. The other thing is that I do have a 360 file within my format here, and if we go up into here, you'll see that I have this file. This is just a regular GoPro MP4 file, which does play, again, no audio, but there is no 360 file. And in my folder structure, going back to my file manager, you can see that there is this 360 file right here. So Davinci Resolve will not even read the 360 file or acknowledge that it's even there. So what I did was, over the course of many hours, I had this script developed. And this script here, I'm not a programmer, a full caveat. I actually used I actually used ChatGPT to write this script. And I can't take full credit for it either, because the remapping functions, which we'll get into in a little bit, actually came from someone else. And I do explain that here. This person here did the heavy lifting as far as figuring out the remapping part. But what I used ChatGPT for was to build this script which automates the process of processing these files. So it's a real easy, just step through the menus and everything. So if you're going to use the script, you would, I'll leave the link for where it's located at in the video description. You come up here and you would click on download the raw file like that, and that would go to your downloads directory. Okay, once you have your the script downloaded, one thing you do need to do is you need to change this into an executable script. And I don't believe you're going to be able to actually see it because of the way that I'm capturing the screen. But in KDE Dolphin, you would right-click on the file, go to Properties, and then under the General tab, which again you can't see, it'll say, under Permissions, you need to check Is Executable and click OK. Sorry, you cannot see that. But it should be real easy. There's other instructions on how to do that. At that point, you now are able to run that script. So I have this open in the console, so I'm going to switch to that real quick. Okay, so we will open up our console. And I'm going to type in period and / and then a capital T, because it is case sensitive. And then I can hit the tab button. And actually what I could do is I could just hit ls. You can see there's the files there. So then I'm going to hit capital T, or period / capital T, hit tab, and that will start the script. So there are a couple of different options. I did try to enable hardware encoding as a possibility. I am not positive how well it is actually working. For the demonstration of this video, I'm going to use just the CPU encoding. It is the slowest, but it is the most reliable version. So I'm going to hit option number 4. The next thing is how many CPU cores you're going to use. You can use the default, which in this case is half of your CPU threads. It says cores, but it's actually threads. Okay, it's going to ask you what the current working folder should be. It'll default to the folder where the script is contained. So we are going to use this folder. That's fine. It's going to display the videos that are in that folder and ask you if you want to continue. That's fine. And then it's going to ask you for an output directory. The default, it'll use the working folder and it'll add a the hyphen and then process to the end of it. So this question is a little odd. It's actually asking, would you like to specify a different destination folder? So in this case, we're not going to change it. So we're going to just hit option 2, hit enter. Okay, so here's what this file will do. Now I need to explain the 360 mapping process. So I'm going to come back to this in a second here. Let me pull up the GoPro 360 file so you can see what's going on. Okay, so here I have a 360 file that's been opened in VLC. This is without any processing at all. And it kind of looks somewhat okay initially, but then when you start inspecting, you'll see that there's kind of this weird thing going on here. And what it is that when GoPro or when the camera records a file, it actually maps everything into different areas. So the front video file actually looks okay, but if you go up to video and then go to video track, VLC actually is able to display track 2. And we'll switch over to track 2 here. You can see that it's even weirder. So it's obviously rotated incorrectly, and then there's a section here, and oops, sorry, there's a section over here. There's a section here, and then there's another section here. So between the two, obviously, you cannot import this into any sort of video editor and just be able to use it right away. So that's the issue with the 360 file. All right, so what this option does, there's 2 options now, getting back to our script here. In option 1, what it's going to do is all compatible media files will be transcoded into .mov file format using the FFMPEG copy function. This will change the video files into .mov, and it's also going to change the sound format using the PCM S16LE format without recompressing. So this is a relatively fast process. This will not do anything to the 360 files for remapping purposes. But if you don't have any 360 files, this is perfectly fine. What that'll give you is a video file that you can then open up in Davinici Resolve, and it'll actually play the audio, which is very helpful. Option 2 is actually the more important option because this is actually going to do the same thing as option 1, but it will also remap the 360 format into an equirectangular format. And this, with the use of a plugin, so in Davinici Resolve, you're going to need this KartaVR. The plugin itself is called VR Reframe360 Ultra. This will allow you to open up the file and to actually reframe the file to however you want. And I'll show that at the very end here. This process is very time consuming. Most likely if you do this process, you'll probably have to do CPU encoding. I believe it'll fall back if you tried hardware encoding and it fails, it'll fall back to CPU encoding. So in this case, we're going to hit option number 2. Okay, and it's going to ask you how do you want to remap and transcode these. In this case, for the demonstration, we're going to use number 1, which is ultra fast, but it has the lowest quality and the largest file sizes. If you're doing this for production, you probably want to use option number 4. Okay, it's going to ask if you want to keep the original file names or if you want to change it to a new time-based format. I haven't actually tested this in a while. It did work, but the idea being was that since GoPro 360 files, or GoPro files in general, they have the weird numbering format where if it's a multi-chapter file, whatever, multiple files to one scene, it just kind of gets a little confusing. So that's what number 2 is. It'll actually change it to time-based format so you can actually sort based off the file name by time. Experiment if you want, but anyways, we're just going to use option number 1 here because I know it works. Okay, and then it's going to ask if you want to override existing files in the output directory or skip them. If you have, if you started a transcoding process before and it failed, or you stopped it or something like that, you can hit overwrite. Otherwise, you can hit skip. That's for, let's say that you process an entire directory and you thought it was all good, and then later on you added in some more content, say from a cell phone. Well, you can use the skip option. It'll skip processing any files that are already completed, and it'll only skip anything that's new. So in this case, I don't have anything that's been transcoded, so I'm just going to hit option number 1. The next option is going to ask if you want to copy non-media files. So if you have things like pictures, or you have some text files with some like notes of kind of like what was happening that you put in the folder structure for your input directory, this is one of those options you would want to hit yes to. In general, just hit yes. Okay, so now you can see that it's starting, and it's going through and processing the video files. Right now it's processing a 360 file. You know that because it starts with gs.mov. 360 files are GS. Regular GoPro files start with GX. You can see the frames per second here is about 11, and the speed here is 0.367. So it is quite slow. So just it finished that. Now it's doing some GoPro files. You can see that these are quite fast as it goes through them. And if we go to our file manager and we go down one, we can see that now that we have this process directory, and in it we have our video files. And when we start clicking through here, you'll see that these are all .mov files. .mov, which is good. And then if we go to our 360, I have a little test file in here. You'll see that it is also a .mov file. So I'm going to open that in a second, but I got to set up VLC to show that correctly. Okay, so I opened that 360 file here, and this is in VLC. And this time you'll notice that you go up to video and video track, there's only one track. You can't see that. Sorry about that. It's in the menus. Trust me, there's only one video track. And now you'll see that this looks a little bit more regular. And what we can actually do is we can click the mouse, we can start dragging and panning around. And you can see that this is one continuous file. All right, so that looks about right. And then you can also use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. So I'm going to zoom out. This actually looks a lot better when you do it because it was really zoomed in to begin with. But now you can see that this is actually a usable file at this point. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Davinci Resolve and show you what's going on in there and how this script has helped us out there. Okay, so I'm in Davinci Resolve here and going into my media pool, and I now have, in addition to my transcode folder, which I initially showed you guys, I now have this transcode -processed, and within this are all of these subfolders and stuff that we had before. And I can just open up any one of these. I think the 3D printed parts, initially they were .mp4 files. We did not have any audio on those. Now I can click on them and hit the play button. What's going on YouTube? So it's actually been a couple of weeks since I've been all right, now we got audio, so that's really nice to see. And also if we go to our 360 files over here, you can see that we now actually have a GS, which is a GoPro 360 file format viewed in this folder, which is good. Okay, so now we have this GS file. I can click on it, and so now you can see that it is open. It still looks a little bit funny, but we're going to deal with that in just a second. So now I can drag that into my my media bin here and use it. So now I'm going to switch over to my editing tab, and I've already dragged it in, but I'll go ahead and add this in. So it's here. We're just going to drag it down, and you can see that we have our file here. Now, in order to correct this, we have to use a plugin, and the plugin is, I need to find it here. It's it's an add-on, so you have to go to a KartaVR. That is a list of programs. I'll try and leave a link for it in the video description so it's easier to find. But within the KartaVR plugin package, there is this KVR Reframe360 Ultra plugin. So if we drag and drop that in, you'll see that now we're getting somewhere starting to look correct. So we're going to, we can actually zoom out, all right, and we can rotate, pitch, things like that. We can yaw, and you'll see that we have these black bars. So this is actually correctable. If you actually disable the plugin real quick, you'll see that the video file itself has these black bars on the sides, and that's actually what you're actually seeing. And so To correct that, we're going to go ahead and just re-enable our plugin. We're going to go up to video. We're going to go down to it's retime and scaling, and under scaling we're going to click stretch. You may not be able to see it, I'm sorry. Yep, you can't see it, but it's going to be under retime and scaling, and then under scaling there will be a stretch option. You select that, and now our video file is complete. We can go back to our effects, and now we can pan around, we can zoom in and out. We also have, you know, the projection, things like that, and also the little tiny world, which I don't think it works in that format. There we go. So there's all these different things that you can play with, and so now this is working correctly. Now the one thing is, this does not do it does not do reframing. I hope or believe I hope that there's going to be a process to do that automatically. I'm sorry, you can do reframing, it's just manual. There's not an automatic reframing. So you would have to look up YouTube tutorials on how to reframe video files and stuff like that. I'm not an expert in Davinci Resolve, but it's out there. So anyways, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been wondering how to do this. Again, going back to being able to open up all of our video files here, being able to use them, GoPro video files, anything that's not a .mov that Davinci Resolve cannot open, this script will process that, and it'll also remap the 360 files so that you can actually use them. Now, full caveat, again, I'm not a programmer. I did use ChatGPT to write the code, minus the remapping function, which I give credit to someone else who did that. If you are a programmer and you want to take on cleaning up the script, making it better, by all means, feel free to reach out and contact me. I would be more than happy to have some assistance in taking that on. But for now, I hope those of you that are like me that are trying to use Linux and have been stuck over this one step on using 360 files and just regular MP4 files in general will find this useful. With that, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys later.